Hello everybody, Red's Tripled here, and today oh shit, alright, sorry for that, but today I'm going to be doing something a little different. Even though I have gameplay going on in the background, it is Star Wars related, but that's because I just went and saw the Star Wars Rogue One movie, and it was actually pretty awesome. Now obviously there is going to be spoilers later on in the the episode, so I'll let everybody know when the spoilers are going to be happening before I say them, so that way if you want a quick spoiler list review, that's what's going to be here at the beginning, so just keep a heads up for that. Anyways, Star Wars A Rogue One movie, or a Star Wars story, has surpassed my expectations immensely. It has led me in a very interesting spot when I was leaving the theater, where I was still processing everything that I had just recently saw. Now, I am a giant Star Wars fan, so that's gotta throw a little bit in with me on that. But just to make the playing level feel level, I guess I could say. Star Wars 7 really didn't do as much for me as a lot of the other Star Wars movies. It really did. It felt like a Star Wars movie, and it was good for what it was. Don't get me wrong on that. But I didn't really feel. I just felt like I just watched a Star Wars movie when I left the theater. That's it. And with Rogue One, it felt new. It felt different. And it was Star Wars, and but it was great. Like, I think it was trying to achieve what Star Wars 7 was trying to achieve in re-bringing up the excitement for Star Wars, which it did. It did do, but it didn't deliver in the way that Rogue One did. And now this is a comparison, I guess. But anyways, we're gonna focus more on Rogue One now. Rogue One, I walked into the theater knowing nothing to expect. I avoided all spoilers specifically to enjoy this movie. And enjoy it, I did. And but the kicker was that at the beginning it seemed slow, and about for the first 40 minutes of it, it seemed to be all story-based. And nothing wrong with that. They did a really good job with that part too. It was when, however, about 45 minutes into the film, where everything just sort of went crazy. And that's the part that really got me into it, was the fact that now you have this large, complex story with all of these different characters, which, like, every character seemed to be on the same level, I guess you could say, of having their importance of their story. It was that awesome. Even characters that weren't around that long. Well, I mean, it's like, by meaning that they weren't around, I mean that they didn't have a whole lot of screen time. But yeah, you have this huge story, and now you have this huge conflict, and all of it's happening at the same time, which I guess hits emotionally and mentally hard on you, no matter what. So that's already there. That's established. Now you have this crazy crazy fight scenes that go with it, and you have yourself an epic movie. So, like, this movie was super epic. The movie was so good, I was able to accept the small flaws that I found, which are all spoilers, so I'll save it for that half of the film, of the episode. However, there were a few flaws, but every movie has its flaws. So I'm not too stressed on it, because they overshadowed the flaws with their successes way more. So for the movie, it's a must-see. It is a must-see whether you are a Star Wars fan or not. And you can, even if you haven't watched any of the Star Wars movies, you can start on this movie. You can. It leaves open to the universe. Okay, so that concludes it for my spoilerless review. Now I'm gonna go in, and beware, this is the part where spoilers happen, so if you don't want anything spoiled for you, stop here. If you could care less, or if you've already seen the movie, then jump right on with me. Alright, so here we go. Here's what I thought of the movie. First things first, and I have to say this, it was something that I wasn't too happy about, but I was able to get over. They didn't have the original... But they didn't have the original opening. Like, they teased it a little bit with the text a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. They had that part. But after that, it went straight into the movie. No rolling yellow text, no big Star Wars or blaring Star Wars theme, none of that. They didn't have that, which disappointed me a little bit, but it was okay. You go to learn about Jin's dad and what he did, and I forgot his name, so don't judge me. I'm not good at remembering names, so I'm just gonna leave it at basic descriptions. But yeah. And then she gets separated from her parents, and there's death and destruction and just this girl's Jin is the girl. Her whole world is kind of just torn apart, and it's gut-wrenching. It sucks. Like, it really does. You can feel it at what they were going for, damn it, in the movie. So you have all that, and she's raised by this ex-clone trooper guy. What was his name? Sal or something like that? I don't know, but I'm gonna call him Sal, just guys. Anyways, she's raised by this dude, and he ends up getting split and arrested under a code name, of course. The Empire has no idea that she is who she is, for good reason. Yes, the soundtrack was great. The soundtrack was great for not being composed by John Williams, actually. I sure hope that's his name, because I'm going to look like a complete idiot if it isn't. With the whole, like, new cast of characters, they did a really good job. My favorite was Jyn Erso, easily. But, well, I mean, not obviously, but Jyn Erso, just because she had the biggest story built on her, you were able to grow more attached to her easier, and yeah, that happened. But you were able to grow onto her easier, and who her family is. And the fact that her dad was alive during most part of the movie, that really kind of brought a hope that they would come together and that they would reunite. Which they did for like 5 seconds, and my god, that was like one of the hardest scenes to watch for me. I didn't cry, but I sure as hell teared up a lot. That was emotionally powerful because of the last moments between a father-daughter kind of thing, and the mom died trying to save her in the initial separation of everything, so now she's lost both of her parents. And the whole conflict is that the rebels took him out by accident during a raid in one of the bases that they had. But the other dude, I forgot what his name was. It starts with a C. I'm gonna call him C, Mr. C. He was about to snipe her dad, because if they shut him up, then they wouldn't be able to finish the Death Star, but the Death Star was already finished, and so it really didn't matter. And he didn't pull the trigger. He didn't kill her. He didn't kill her dad, but she blamed it on him for a small part. And then they had a good sit down, and they all became friends in the end. And they ended up, there was an Imperial pilot in there, which he ended up turning good, which was really kind of cool. And so yeah. Also on that planet, that same planet, they met this dude that was force sensitive, but he was blind. He's a cool guy. And his best buddy was like this super heavy weapons person. And together they were a really cool pair. And they ended up joining the squadron, along with a rewired Imperial droid. He was cool. I remember his name. His name was K250. And he was cool. The only reason why I remember his name is because he was my second favorite character. So, yeah. Shit. But yeah, so that was, now you know who, like, my favorite characters were, and oh no! Oh, there was Krennic in the background, that's cool. Oh, yeah, go ahead and rub it in. But anyways, then they do this whole thing where they figure out and they get the tape from her dad and they figure out that the Death Star has a flaw in it, and that's what starts to bring hope in the squadron that later becomes known as Rogue One. I'm going to call them Rogue One right now because that's who they are. But they get hope, and so now they have to convince everybody else. And that's Vader. So yeah, now they get this hope, and so now they have to go to Scarif, and they have to get the data plans for the Death Star, and that's how they'll win the day. And that's what leads them to the mission in Episode 4, where they go and actually blow up the Death Star. So yeah, that was the basic storyline of it. Basic, very basic. I'm not going to go into full details because I want you to watch the movie. That's simple. Darn you, cheese toast. Now I'm going to review the big moments that were the big moments for me in the movie. Things that stood out to me. So the first big moment for me was obviously in the beginning when the mom died. I totally didn't see it coming, even though I had an idea that, okay, they had to be separated somehow because it wouldn't make sense if she's running off on her own throughout the galaxy. But the way she just got lit up right there, kind of like an already established Krennic as how evil a character as he was, because he's the one that ordered for it to happen. And so that was insane. Then another big moment for me was when Tarkin showed up, Grand Moff Tarkin. Because with me, he didn't seem that bad of a dude when he was in Episode 4, but he did seem cocky, and I didn't know why. And this movie gave him a reputation that kind of lasts through the episodes for me, where you can kind of see more about who he was. Next was also the big reveal of Vader. Tarkin goes into Vader's meditation chamber, I guess you can say. But he did it with the cloak on, which threw me off at first because I thought it was Palpatine. And I didn't think they were going to bring him in the movie, which they didn't, and it ended up being just Tarkin in a cloak. So that cleared that up. But he ended up going... Whoa. But he ended up... oh, I'm sorry. R2-D2 is stressful. Anyways, Tarkin was just ruthless in this movie. Like, beyond normal. It was so weird to see him come back and be an actual legitimate bad dude. But that, once again, it was cool. So yeah, I gotta get out of here. Damn it. But okay, so that was that. I was talking about Vader, wasn't I? Yeah, the big reveal of Darth Vader was awesome. I'm sorry, R2-D2 is so freaking stressful. So, I was talking about Vader. Vader was cool, but he didn't get a whole lot of screen time, which kind of disappointed me for the most part. But he did get a huge scene in the end when he was chasing the rebels who'd stolen the data tape. And it was cool to see him go to the Tantive 4 to break in to get that stuff back, which leads straight into Episode 4. Now, another thing that threw me off, since I didn't look into any spoilers or anything, I didn't know that everyone was going to die in the end. And that kind of left a hole in me, because I fell in love with these characters too easily. And death is never easy. But I do think that Jyn and Mr. C, they just sat on the beach for the last little bits. There was no, like, super dramatic tone. It was dramatic, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't, like, as I thought it would be. It was actually super calm, which I guess for what it was good. It was after all the chaos of the war that ensued, and after all of that, it seemed like a good finish. And then with the admirals saying "May the Force be with you" and then just taking off like that just to get intercepted by Vader. It was an interesting drop and a good comeback, in my opinion. Now, the craziest death I think that was there was when the blind dude and the heavy dude both died like back to back. It was crazy because they were both pivotal moments in the Battle of Scarif, but they both went out like one right after the other, and in one long sequence where it dragged it out, and it felt really sad because they were both best friends dying together on the battlefield. And I don't know how long they've been together or what they've been through, any of that kind of thing, but that was crazy sad. Like, I almost cried at that part. K2 did die as well. He got shot up trying to do what droids do. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But it was really kind of sad the way they did it, because he, out of all the droids that I've ever seen before, he seemed the most human-like, which was a very interesting quality in a droid. Like, even the way he talked seemed human. And so that was really kind of nice to witness. And then he died. And then, of course, Mr. C was all thought dead before he was dead, and he came and saved Jyn from Krennic. So I guess, in a way, he killed Krennic. But Tarkin was the one that blew up Scarif. And so, yeah, everyone died because of freaking Tarkin. And I'm glad he died with the first Death Star, to be honest, because that pissed me off. Ah, damn. But, okay. Now, also, the space battle is actually really cool. Space battles wasn't something that I usually looked forward to in Star Wars movies. I usually looked forward to ground combat, but the way that they depicted a space battle in this was so freaking insanely cool that you can't be upset at it. You just can't. It was too awesome. The way that, like, the Rebels seemed way outnumbered when all the TIE fighters came out, and the way that they pushed the first Star Destroyer into the second one, and just, you watched everything get ripped apart. Like, that was awesome to watch. I'm not gonna say everything, because I don't want to ruin a whole lot of things. In a way, they had lots of little cameo appearances. They had Leia, they had R2-D2, 3CPO, they had Gold Leader. I remember him. That was a cool touch to the times. Senator Organa was still around, and to be honest, I forgot that Alderaan still existed at this point, because this is before the events of Episode 4. And so I forgot that a lot of the things weren't gone yet, and that was the reason why a lot of the characters weren't there, is because a lot of the characters didn't know that stuff happened yet. Well, I mean, all of them didn't know that stuff happened yet. It was before Episode 4. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the transition from this movie in Episode 4. It was cool because it left it at like seconds before Episode 4 started. The Scarif ended with Leia getting the tape for the Death Star plans, and that's where it picks up, because in Episode 4 she gives it to R2-D2. But it was cool because all the soldiers in it and everything, it seemed more real, like their reactions and the fighting and their emotional struggle through the last little bit there when Vader was just mowing through them in the Tantive. It was insane to see the tape passed from person to person in an effort to keep it away from this Dark Lord. And when it ends up with the droid and they pass it on, it was just, in the end, super awesome movie. Great movie. I would suggest that if you watch this, go and watch it now. It was that good. Alright, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rets Tripled. I'm thinking I'm going to do more of these movie reviews. Maybe not as often, but for definitely movies that stood out to me. Like, subscribe, do all that crap, and stay tuned for more. So, thank you all for watching. I'm Rets Tripled. See you next time. Peace.